All rise. Oh yay, oh yay, oh yay. Silence is commanded by this honorable commission. All those having business, draw near.
Thank you, and you may be seated at this time. Let me ask all of us now to check, recheck, and check again your cell phones or your electronic devices, all right? Please, so that it does not interrupt these proceedings. And I've asked you to be seated at this time as we prepare ourselves to get our inspiration on the invocation. And today we are happy to have Minister Shannon Nelson, who is a minister at the staff of Second Arnold Missionary Baptist Church, where my friend, the Reverend Hall, is the senior pastor, Richard Hall. And Minister Nelson is a native of Savannah, Georgia, and a graduate of Herschel V. Jenkins High School. She later attended Savannah State College, now University, on the Miss Ebony Fashion Fair Scholarship, earning a bachelor's in 1995 and her master's degree in 2001. Shannon is a member of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated, Savannah Alumni Chapter, where she serves as the assistant chaplain. She received her calling in the ministry in May of 2004, receiving her license to preach in January of 2014, and on April 30th, 2023, she was officially ordained as a minister of the gospel under the leadership of Pastor Richard L. Hall, Sr. We have with us one who can bring us our implication and our inspiration, and let me ask you now, when she signals to us to time for prayer, I'm going to ask you to stand again, all right? And as we go through the prayer, and then after the prayer, Commissioner Lockett will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Minister Nelson, the floor is yours.
Good morning.
Good morning.
To all of those in their respective places, I'm excited to be here to bring the inspirational word this morning from on high. As Commissioner Ellis said, I am a native of Savannah. I've been here, I've moved away, I've come back, and I'm so excited to be back in the city of Savannah. The Bible says in Jeremiah 29, verses 11 through 14, it says, "For I know the plans and thoughts that I have for you, says the Lord, plans for peace and well-being and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call on me, and you will come to me. You will call on me and pray to me, and I will hear your voice, and I will listen to you. Then with a deep longing, you will seek me and require me as a vital necessity. And you will find me when you search for me with all your heart. I will be found by you, says the Lord, and I will restore your fortunes, and I will free you and gather you from all nations and from all the places where I have driven you, says the Lord. And I will bring you back to the place from where I sent you into exile." So with saying that, we must remember that God has a master plan and a purpose for all of us. And once we have accepted God's plan, we will forever walk in his righteousness, because he has given us the tools necessary to walk in the boldness of Christ. Because we know that we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us, and as believers, no one can take that away from us. We know that in the righteousness of Christ that we are forgiven because of the blood that was shed on Calvary. Again, as the Bible reminds us in Isaiah 9:6, "For us to us a child shall be born. To us a son shall be given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace." So let us as God's people continue to seek his face in all that we do, because the Bible again says in Ephesians 1:11 through 12, "In him also we have received an inheritance, a destiny where we're claimed by God as his own, and having predestined, chosen, appointed beforehand, according to the purpose of him who works everything in agreement with the counsel and design of his will, so that we were the first to hope in Christ, who first put our confidence in him as our Lord and Savior, would exist to praise to his glory.
All right, may we stand for prayer?
Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this meeting of the commissioners. God, we ask that all decisions are made in your name, oh God. We ask that all hearts and minds are clear. Oh God, we just thank you right now. We thank you for everyone that is under the sound of my voice. We thank you for all of the thoughts that you have given them to express today. And oh God, again, we thank you most of all for the blood of Christ, oh God. For without his blood, we will not be here. We will not be able to share our thoughts and opinions to better our society, our city, our state, our government. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Commissioner Lockett.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and you may be seated.
God bless.
To Minister Nelson, let me thank you and we say how much we appreciate you bringing us your words of inspiration and your prayer. We can't pay you, but we do give you our certificate, all right? Appreciating you for what you've done today and for starting us on our way. Thank you, and so on. God bless you. Roll call.
Chester A. Ellis, Chairman.
Present.
Helen L. Stone, District 1, Vice Chairman.
Present.
Kenneth A. Adams, District 8, Chairman Pro Tem.
Present.
Jean Brown Rivers, District 2.
Present.
Bobby Lockett,
Here.
District 3. Patrick K. Farrell, District 4. Tanya Milton, District 5. Aaron Whiteley, District 6.
Here.
Dean Kicklighter, District 7.
All right, haven't heard the roll call. May I have a motion from the commission to excuse Commissioner Milton in the passing of her sister?
I so move.
Second.
Been properly motion and second that Commissioner Milton be excused. Are you ready for the question? Please cast your votes. All right, thank you. May I also have a motion now to excuse Commissioner Kicklighter for illness?
So moved. Second.
It's been properly motion and second that Commissioner Kicklighter be excused. Are you ready for the question? Please signify your vote. Okay, thank you. All right. We're getting into proclamation and special presentations. Proclamation recognizing September as Attendance Month in Chatham. Oh, I'm sorry. Say again? Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you for catching me. All right. Let me recognize Commissioner Whiteley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to recognize our youth commissioners who are in attendance today. Today we have Ms. Bashia McNutt, who is the chair of the Youth Commission and a senior at Savannah Early College. Good morning. And also Mr. Holden Hanel, who is the vice chair and a junior at Savannah Early College. Good morning, Madam Chair and Mr. Vice Chair, and thank you for being here.
And let me say welcome to you as well. And we like for you to be involved in the proceedings. If you have any questions about anything, just raise your hand. And if I miss it, hopefully one of the commissioners is gonna catch you, okay? Because we do want you to be involved in this. Now, while I'm doing that, let me don't run too fast. Let me slow down. First of all, let me recognize the constitutional officer, the sheriff, all right? And then I see Ms. Mosley, all right? Who else did I see the tax commissioner? I know I saw the former tax commissioner. You're looking too good in retirement. Maybe we need to come up with an assignment. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Are there any other constitutional officers with us? All right, I want to make sure I get that. Okay, now we ready? Okay, we can proceed on. Proclamation recognizing September as Attendance Month in Chatham County. The Honorable Lindair, all right, Kramer of the Juvenile Court, and Dr. Quintino Fields, Deputy Superintendent of Savannah Chatham County Public School System, will be present to accept. Are they here? Okay.
I would just like to say that Judge Kramer gets my emails and I get her emails.
Oh, okay.
Our names are very similar.
Is it- that-
Yeah, that was a nice surprise.
Your husband sent flowers and it went to her? That's that cream one. I'm going to read this proclamation, and after I read the proclamation, Judge, I'm going to turn it over to you. All right? The County of Chatham, Georgia, proclamation. Whereas attending school regularly is essential to students gaining the academic, social, and emotional skills they need to thrive. Chronic absence, no matter its cause, has real-life consequences for students, family, and society in general. And whereas research shows starting as early as preschool and kindergarten, chronic absence missing 10% of the academic year can lead third graders unable to read proficiently, sixth graders struggling with the coursework, and high school students off track for graduation. And whereas the impact of chronic absentee hits students from low-income families and children of color particularly hard, and whereas all students, even those who show up regularly, are affected by chronic absenteeism because teachers must spend time reviewing for students who miss lessons. Now therefore, I, Chester A. Ellis, Chairman on behalf of the Chatham County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the September 2022, and that should be 2023, as Attendance Awareness Month in Chatham County, and urge citizens to commit to focus on reducing chronic absenteeism to give all students an equal opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive academically, emotionally, and socially. In witness whereof, I hereto set my hands and cause the seal of Chatham County, Georgia, to be affixed this 22nd day of September 2023. The mic is yours.
Thank you very much, Chairman. First, I'd like to express my appreciation on behalf of Juvenile Court and the school system for this proclamation. It recognizes that the citizens of Chatham County and you all as their representatives value our children being in schools. And so this proclamation is a symbol of what we're all committed to. When people think of children missing school, they immediately think of math and reading lessons, which of course, that's incredibly important. If our children grow up and they can't read things like a menu at a restaurant or the directions for their new TV and how to set it up, much less be able to go on to higher education and seek more opportunities there. All of those things are important, but one of the things I'd like to highlight is also that when children miss school, they're missing opportunities for social emotional growth. And what does that mean? That means that when children go to school, they have an opportunity to interact with other people, other children. That's where, on a very fundamental level, we as human beings learn for the first time, well, what do I do if I don't get along with somebody? I'm upset about this. How do I handle that? It's where children learn to be able to regulate their emotions. They learn how to interact with others, how to get along. Frankly, I bet all of you guys were amazing in school because you have all of the social, emotional skills that we hope that all of our citizens would have. Being able to connect to others, being able to talk to others, being able to value other people's perspectives and give back to them. And so I appreciate not just the recognition that this is Student Attendance Awareness Month because education matters. Math, science, reading, all of those things matter, but also people matter. And that's what children learn when they go to school. I didn't realize that this would be scheduled on the same day as the Youth Commission coming in to their term. And it's amazing to be here. I would like to emphasize, you guys are some of the brightest and best young people in our community. And I'm so excited to see you here engaging with your community leaders. But I'll invite you specifically on this issue. I think you guys are experts on this subject. Who knows better why children aren't going to school each day than children who go to school each day? What's the reason that your friends, maybe folks that aren't always your friends, are missing school each day? One of the things that I would bring to everybody's attention, and one of the reasons we collaborate with the school system is There are reasons that children don't go to school. It's very simple to say, you should be in school, and parents, you should have your children in school. Well, all of that's true, but what's the reason they're not in school? It could be barriers to transportation. It could be that an older child is having to stay home to take care of their younger child because mom needs to go to work to be able to provide for both of those children and can't stay home with the sick younger child. There are a million real-life reasons that children miss school in our community. And I say that to say, to the Youth Commission, you're uniquely situated. When you have classmates and friends who are missing school, have a conversation about, hey, I didn't see you here yesterday, what's going on? And then carry that information back to these leaders who are committed to helping your friends and classmates get to school each day. Again, I'd just like to thank you very, very much for the opportunity to share about student awareness, student attendance awareness, and I appreciate, as always, your support of juvenile court and the children in our community.
Thank you, ma'am. And we appreciate it. When you turn around, she want to get a picture of you, and let me say, I kind of think, sometimes folks call me old school, but I kind of think we ought to get back to like my parents were, all right? If I said I didn't feel like going to school, my dad would say, you don't have to go, but when I check, you better be there. All right? And I think that's one of the things that need to go on now, is that when we check, they need to be there, because it is a problem when we miss. And we thank you, and we enjoy us joining. And lastly, let me say, we'll make sure the flowers get in the right place.
Thank you very much, Chairman.
All right, have a great day. Proclamation declaring October 5th, 2023 as United Way Day in Chatham County. We have the director here, the president and CEO. Okay. I'm gonna take a point of personal privilege, if you don't mind. Okay. Didn't I see our campaign chairman in here? Where's Nathan? Nathan, come on up here too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He does a fabulous job
does.
among our staff, and so I wanted to make sure we recognize the County of Chatham, Georgia. Proclamation, whereas the United Way of the Coastal Empire Community funds supports more than 80 critical programs and services and more than 50 local nonprofit agencies, and provide direct support to people in need. And whereas Herschel V. Jenkins, born on October 5th, 1871, through his foresight, created the Herschel V. Jenkins Trust Fund to generate revenue that, along with other incomes, covers most of the organization's administrative and fundraising costs, so more donors' contributions are used in service to the community. And whereas each year the United Way of the Coastal Empire improves the lives of thousands of our citizens in Chatham, Bryan, Effingham, and Liberty counties through their caring power of our community. Now therefore, I, Chester Ellis, Chairman, on behalf of the Chatham County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim October 5th, 2023 as United Way of the Coastal Empire Day in Chatham County, and urge all citizens to take note this year's theme, we are on a roll, let's get to work, and know that through unity we improve lives. In witness whereof, I here to set my hands and call the seal of Chatham County to be affixed this 22nd day of September 2023. The mic is yours.
Thank you, Chairman Ellis. Thank you to our county commission members, the staff and employees of Chatham County. We are so grateful to partner with you in the work to make our community as strong as it can possibly be. The United Way, as our chairman read, our mission is to improve lives. And we do that by mobilizing the caring power of our community, and that's what this represents perfectly today. And with that, just know how humbled and grateful we are at United Way of the Coastal Empire for this recognition. It takes all of us, which was why I wanted to bring our team up. Nathan, whom you've already introduced, but Emily Cole, who is our Director of Resource Development, Tori Bernstein, Munstein, who is our ambassador, and our new Vice President of Resource Development, Andrew Conkle, all wanted to be a part of this great moment. Thank you. Thank you for the recognition. Thank you for the staff time that you guys dedicate. We have your own county manager is our vice chairman, soon-to-be chairman of our United Way of the Coastal Empire Board. Linda Kramer serves on our finance committee. So many people are engaged together, working together to make our community better, and we're sincerely, sincerely grateful.
Thank you so much for the work you all do and for the job you do in this community. You know, so you all are what I call those unsung heroes, all right, that live in our community and do in our community. And let me say to Nathan, I will make sure as the chairman, and I'm gonna ask my fellow commissioners to join me, but I'm not trying to get them to outdo anything, but you're gonna have my $1,000 check before the 5th, okay? So that you can report that on the 5th. And so that'll kick off the campaign throughout and let me say, while I'm saying too, that our employees have done a great job of contributing to United Way, and I applaud them, all right, for doing that, but we wanna make sure we set the pace and win the race.
Chatham County is always one of our most generous contributors, in our top 10 every single year. So thank you to everyone who contributes.
And that's why I wanted to pull that out. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. Turn around and let
Okay.
them, yeah, she wants to get the picture. Oh, here come Mike. Here come the manager.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all again. Youth Commissioner, thank you.
I'd like to make a comment in regards to the absenteeism and recognition. The choice schools in Savannah, Chatham County have taken it upon themselves this year to start taking absenteeism into account as part of their selection. So while many high-achieving students may go their entire semester with straight A's, they could have even as little as below 10 absences, but have their absenteeism, while it may not affect their schoolwork, taken into account in their recognition into a choice school, which can affect their ongoing goals in academics, even though they may only have missed 3 days this semester and have still been high-achieving students.
Okay, thank you.
Well said.
And let me apologize again for missing you, okay, when you wanted to say that, when we were talking about, when the judge was up here. Again, y'all keep me now. Y'all signal me, all right? Because I'll be rolling. All right, thank you so much. Let us now go to Mr. Manager. We had Employee Service Award.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to ask our Human Resources Director, Ms. Callan Smalls, to come up and introduce the employees who are receiving their service awards on today. Ms. Smalls?
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Good morning, Chairman Ellis.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. It's always my pleasure to present our service awards to our team members who are celebrating a service milestone. We have 14 team members receiving a service award this morning. Mr. Kegler, if you would come down and present the awards. And also, we have constitutional officers here today with team members receiving an award. We ask you to come forward when their name is called to present their award with them, and department heads who are here. I understand the tax commissioner is out of town. I understand she has a couple of employees, and she sends her regards, but was unable to attend today. So we will start with a 35-year
Wow.
service award, yes,
Wow.
to Ms. Stephanie Washington Parker with the Detention Center. And with 25 years of service, Ms. Kimberly Gadsden with the Tax Commissioner's Office. Celebrating 15 years of service, Mr. Kevin Hicks with the Board of Assessors. With 10 years of service, Ms. Tara Burnset with the Detention Center. And also with 10 years of service, Mr. Thomas Burris with the Clerk of Superior Court. And with 10 years of service, Mr. Rudy Gosine with the Detention Center. And also with 10 years of service, Ms. Pamela Green with the Tax Commissioner's Office. Celebrating 5 years of service, Ms. Priyanka Pardeshi with Information and Communication Services. And also celebrating 5 years of service, Corporal Kiana Robbins with the Chatham County Police Department. And with 5 years of service, Mr. Donald Robinson Sr. with Public Works. Also with 5 years of service, Mr. Robbie Wright with Public Works. And with 5 years of service, Ms. Karen Long with Henderson Golf Course.
Entourage.
And I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Kegler.
Today, I have two of my department heads that are being recognized today, and the first will be Ms. Amy Davis, our finance director, with 10 years of service. The next employee we will recognize is Ms. Carolyn Smalls, our Human Resources Director with 10 years of service.
Thank you very much, and congratulations again to all of you on celebrating a service milestone with Chatham County, and I wish you much continued success in your careers. Thank you.
At this time, let me, a presentation on the Coastal Empire Resiliency Network, a final report by the Executive Director of the Metropolitan Planning Commission, Ms. Melanie Wilson. The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Is the
It's
mic
on.
on? Okay. I want to take this opportunity to thank you and the rest of the board for your support with regards to this project. The MPC moved forward 3 years ago, around 2020, to write a grant as a consequence of working with the Sea Level Rise folks, realizing that it was really important to try to create a resiliency network to address a host of issues that impact us all, not just within Chatham County, but within the whole Empire region. I want to take this opportunity to thank our partners. We were fortunate to have not only Chatham County, the city of Savannah, but the other jurisdictions as well as the ports and the university systems participate in this effort. Today, I have with us Anna McCrory. She will be giving you the final presentation. She's a planner with us at MPC and is the project manager to finish up this project. But again, I just want to thank them, our partners, as well as the staff for all of their work and efforts on this project. And we're looking forward to moving forward to the next chapter of addressing resiliency within Chatham County and the coastal empire. Anna.
Hi, thank you so much for having us here today. Again, my name is Anna McCrory, and I'm a planner at the MPC. And so I'll be talking to you a little bit about CERN, our Coastal Empire Resilience Network, and about how we're building a network for regional resilience here. And this is a presentation of findings. Great. So what is CERN? As Executive Director Wilson said, the MPC applied for a grant through the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, Coastal Resources Division in 2020. And our mission is to engage regional community partners, municipal staff, and policymakers to coordinate equitable strategies to address the physical, economic, and social challenges coastal Georgia communities face due to a changing climate. So what are the benefits of having this network? So collaboration through a coast-wide network to promote resiliency, creation of a forum for information, data, and experiences to promote community resilience and develop a common framework while planning, and strengthening the ability of the region to prepare, adapt, and respond to both short-term and long-term complex climate and weather-related challenges. Right. And so we'll be talking about resilience this morning, and a very basic definition of resilience is the ability to prepare and plan for, absorb, recover from, and more successfully adapt to adverse events. So just a brief timeline of CERN activities. In 2020, we applied for our Coastal Incentive Grant and received it. And in 2021, we got started by establishing our steering committee. We created our website, coastalresiliencenetwork.org. We created a Resiliency 101 course with the UGA Carl Vinson Institute of Government and had many conference presentations as well. In 2022, we had our first partner meeting, of which some of you may have attended. We had over 100 attendees to start visioning what we thought the coastal empire could look like in 2050. We also hosted multiple resilience coffee hours monthly throughout the year. And in 2023, we had a wonderful World of Resiliency activity book created by an intern from SCAD. And we established our technical advisory committee. We just had our second partner meeting with over 40 attendees. And here we are right now at our grant findings presentation. So at our 2022 meeting, we were discovering and visioning. So what do we want the coastal empire to look like in 2050? How can we all connect? What can a network do for us? And we have a beautiful illustration here from Inky Brittany, a graphic visual artist who took some of the highlights of our meeting. We had many different partners represented, local government jurisdictions as well. And so we had many presentations and great conversations. A couple of our resilience coffee hours included a variety of topics. So talking about insect vectors and the growing impacts, property insurance rate, extreme heat, building response and resilience in our community through DEI, planning for natural infrastructure, hydrology, and shorebirds. As I said, we just had our 2023 partner meeting, and so this is how we're looking to move forward past our grant period. We'd like to continue to network with the entire coastal Georgia and Low Country South Carolina region, specifically focusing on Bryan, Bullock, Chatham, Effingham, and Liberty counties to create those strong bonds and then expand out. And we'd like to coordinate with the Golden Isles Coastal Resilience effort in Glenn County as well. We'd like to continue our mission of building a network to connect stakeholders and promoting coordination on equitable resilience strategies, increase awareness of CERN. So if you haven't heard of it, now you have. Educational opportunities, engagement of elected officials. We're moving forward to hopefully create a strategic plan and offer an online hub of resources and active contact list to assist partners in connecting. I'd like to continue building relationships with community organizations and neighborhood associations as well, with a focus on disadvantaged groups to promote social and environmental justice. And finally, we'd like to become a self-sustaining organization through a variety of different options and pursue these, maybe modest membership dues, incorporation into city and county budgets, and grants. So we're exploring a variety of options. If you're interested about learning more on our Resiliency 101 course, you can check out our website, but a couple of the learning objectives are to learn how to define resiliency and its importance to communities in managing land, discussing the difference between shocks and stressors, learning how to plan for resilience, learning about the triple bottom line, building partnerships, and understanding more about resiliency specifically in the coastal Georgia context. So I'd like to acknowledge NOAA and the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, Coastal Resources Division. We couldn't have done this without them, and thank them for their financial support. So thank you, and please stay connected with CERN. You can follow our Instagram account at CERN_MPC. Go to our website, coastalempireresilience.org. contact Executive Director Wilson or myself, and our email addresses are below. Thank you so much for your time today.
All right, any questions from any commissioner? Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time now, we're getting ready for our swearing-in ceremonies for our youth commission. And let me call on Mayor Van Johnson.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr.
morning.
Chairman, members of the
morning.
commission, Manager Kegler, and Team Chatham. Of all the wonderful things that you are able and empowered to do, the buildings you can build, the streets you can pave, the initiatives you can create, one of the most important things that you have done, and certainly one of the most compelling, one of the most lasting, one of the most enduring things, has been your creation of and support of one of the nation's oldest, well-known, and well-recognized youth organizations, governmental youth engagement programs, the Chatham County Youth Commission. Founded in 1991 by then Commissioner Dr. Priscilla Thomas and the Chatham County Commission at that time, and directed at that time by a young up-and-coming employee in the Human Resources Department named Michael Kegler. This program, who would have thought, right? This program has impacted and graduated thousands of Chatham County students over the past 32 years. They are recognized and they are emulated all over the country. And just as recent as last evening, a former Fulton County Commissioner recounted starting the Fulton County Youth Commission in 1999, utilizing the Chatham County Youth Commission as the model. And so we are contacted regularly, we are consulted, we are emulated, and we are imitated because of the investment that your predecessors set and because of the investment that you continue to make in supporting lives of young people. As I begin now my 28th year serving and leading these young people, it should be noted now that this year, our very first youth commissioners are approaching 50 years old. And to put that into context, we are now serving the children of youth commissioners in our program. And so that tells you the generational aspect of this organization. In this war for talent, not only in vocational settings, but also in elected and public service settings, we recognize that our success is tied to our succession. And our ability to survive, our ability to be competitive, depends on our ability to be able to build our bench. And what we have learned over the last 32 years is that we have in this community everything we need. We just need to grow our own leaders and grow our own talent. And so that's why I'm so appreciative for you, for your continued investment, your continued encouragement of these young people, because you never know where they might end up. And I will tell you that the seats that we occupy are not ours. We're caretakers for the times to which we have them. But we have to prepare people to be able to take them over when we move out of the way. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for your support and for the pizza. Young people appreciated it. They want to do it again real soon. To my former Human Resources Department and their support still, to our county departments who always are very, very supportive of our endeavors with these young people. Certainly to the individuals that helped me manage the very, very busy schedules of these amazing young people. Octavia Brown, Ms. Brown, you still here? All right, Ms. Brown, y'all give Ms. Brown a round of applause. And Tamika Tribble, Ms. Tribble's here. Yes, and Linda Gordon is here as well. And Ms. Idell Biles could not be here. And we're also very, very appreciative of parents. we know, and certainly we're old enough to know, that it takes an entire village to raise a child. And so we appreciate our parents continually giving us space, continuing giving us grace, continuing partnering with us to be able to create opportunities, to be able to partner with them to make sure that young people are successful. You have to be careful about who you have your kids around. And so the fact that these parents continue to trust us, to challenge their young people, to sometimes be a little hard on them, sometimes to make them mad. But the fact is, we recognize what the result is. So we're going to ask all of our parents and grandparents, godparents, big mamas, big papas that are here, please stand. Let's recognize our parents. And we thank all of them as well. So I'm going to call their names, and we're going to have them to stand so they can be recognized. And then, Mr. Chairman, we'll ask you to come down and administer the oath of office. Ms. Bashia McNutt, who you know, is a senior at Savannah Early College. She is our chair, and she is in her 3rd year. Mr. Holden Handel, who you also know, is our vice chair. He is a junior at Savannah Early College, and this is his 2nd year, and it seemed like Savannah Early College is trying to take over the youth commission. Ms. Amira Ali, a senior at Johnson High School. She's in her 3rd year. She's our secretary. Mr. Daniel Winters is a senior at Benedictine Military Academy. He's in his 3rd year. Ms. Noah Harris is one of our executive members. She's a senior. She's at Johnson High School. This is her 3rd year. Ms. Kamora Swinton at Beach High School. She's a senior. This is her 2nd year. Mr. Ethan Yancey from New Hampstead. He's a senior. This is his 2nd year. Ms. Ava Brown from Woodville Tompkins. She's a junior. This is her 2nd year. Ms. Vivian Burns from Savannah Arts Academy. She's a junior. This is her 2nd year. Ms. Erica Butler from Savannah High School. She's a senior. This is her 3rd year. Ms. Savannah Crossley is new to us, but her family is not. We've had her big brother, Charles. She is a junior at St. Vincent's Academy. This is her 1st year.
That's Samantha, Mr. Mayor.
What did I say?
You said Savannah. It's all right.
Savannah is always in my mind. Samantha. If you get old, that's what happens to you. Samantha, thank you. Ms. Jocelyn A. Daniels is a senior at Windsor Forest High School. She's in her 2nd year. Mr. Vidon Dudani is a junior at Jenkins High School. He's new to us. This is his 1st year. Mr. Caden Fisher at St. Andrews. He's a junior. This is his 2nd year. Ms. Abigail Gregory is new to us. She is a junior at Savannah Arts Academy. It's her 1st year. Ms. Brooklyn Howells is a junior at Islands High School, and she's in her 2nd year. Ms. Jordan Jones is new to us at St. Vincent's Academy. She's a sophomore. This is her 1st year. Ms. Sierra Lowry is not here. Okay. Ms. Brianna Miles is a senior at Savannah Early College. She's in her 3rd year, and her mom was a Chatham County Youth Commissioner. Ms. Melissa Osborne is new to us. She's a junior at Woodville Tompkins, and this is her 1st year. Ms. Kushi Patel is a junior at Savannah Christian. She's a junior in her 1st year. Ms. Lindsay Richardson is a junior at Calvary Day School. She is a junior in her 2nd year. Ms. Julia Ronning is a senior at Savannah Christian. She's in her 3rd year. Ms. Jada Sams is new to us. She's a sophomore at Johnson High School. Ms. Ambriana West is new to us. She's a sophomore, and she is our 1st student from the E-Learning Academy. Mr. Aiden Wigfall is a senior at Savannah High School, and he's in his 3rd year. And Ms. Casey Williams is a senior at Windsor Forest High School, and she is in her 2nd year. Let's give a big round of applause to these amazing young people. And Mr. Chairman, if you would come and administer the oath of office. We ask for all of you to please stand.
hereby solemnly swear. Or affirm. That I will. Support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of Georgia. That I will honorably. Faithfully. Perform the duties. Assigned to me. And that I will all times. Abide by. And conform to. The laws. Ordinances. Rules and regulations. Approved by the Chatham County Commissioners. So help me God. You are duly sworn in. Now, let me say to the chair lady, all right, your first assignment is you gotta tell me whether it's on pizza party or someplace else, all right? You get the date and give it to the manager, okay? So that you'll know, we going to pizza again, or are we going, I know what y'all.
Pig House.
That's why all right, you all decide where we're gonna go and how we're gonna celebrate your swearing in, okay? And then make sure you let me know so I can let the commissioners know, because I don't know if I can. Anything from a commissioner?
Mr. Chair, if Madam,
Sure.
I think she wants to greet.
Okay, she was gonna, go ahead.
Yes, thank you.
All right, I'm ahead of time.
All right. Good morning, Chairman Ellis, Commissioners, and all attendees. I would like to first thank our founder, Dr. Priscilla Thomas, for her vision, which is the seed that created the harvest that we see today on this swearing in. I also want to thank the Commission for allowing the time and space for this moment. Thank you to our advisors who continue to voluntarily put up with us and support us every day and just be there to mentor us when needed. And I would also like to thank the parents of the nominees who are permitting their babies to join our circle, which we know extends well beyond this room. And yes, to everyone thanked, I would like to say that I really do appreciate this opportunity to be a part of, CCYC, because it's just, I've learned so much being a part of it. Just being amongst my peers and learning so much, it's just such a wonderful experience. And I just wanted to say that an investment into us is definitely an investment into the future, not just our future individually, but just into the future of the world. So I greatly, on the behalf of the Youth Commission, appreciate this opportunity, but thank you.
All right. Now, any commissioner? Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, hold on. Go Commissioner Adams, I'm coming.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to say congratulations on being sworn in as youth commissioners, and hopefully one day you can come up here and replace us. And I also like to recognize one of my classmates, Mr. Sam Crosley. His daughter was sworn in as a youth commissioner. And I must say that she just got his name, not his looks.
Go Knights. Go Windsor.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Whiteley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So congratulations on your swearing in, and I hope that you take this honor and responsibility seriously. You know, you guys are an example of tomorrow. You guys are the future leaders of tomorrow. So we look forward to seeing you grow, look forward to seeing you sitting up here. And also shout out to some of the members who are from Youth Court. I see you out there. We appreciate you all. Congratulations.
Commissioner Lockett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to congratulate you and just make one statement: onward and upward. Wish you well.
Commissioner Rivers, anything?
Thank you. And being a former school teacher, you all know that I am very, very proud of you. And the way you spoke this morning was beautiful. The young guy who spoke, I can't think of your name, but kudos to you. And I'm very proud of you, and keep moving up.
Commissioner.
Congratulations. And I will look forward to hearing good things from each and every one of you in the future. And take this time to try to learn and involve yourself with what's going on in your community and with your local leaders as well as your state and federal leaders. So thank you.
let me just congratulate you for being sworn in, and we look forward now to you and a rotation of those commissioners who are going to serve with us as we have meetings, okay? And again now, let me say, Madam Chairman, Chairperson, you're responsible for letting me know when we going to dinner, and that dinner can be pizza dinner or it can be at a restaurant. Just let me know so we can get it, all right? And again, that's on me, okay? And so we invite the commissioners to come and so that we can network, so that you can know how we can fellowship one with another. Back in the hands of you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And so if you don't mind, they really want to go back to school. And so I know, I mean, these are young scholars, and it's Friday, and so if you would not mind excusing them so they can go back to school.
Right, sir.
Right? Y'all really want, yeah, you see, so if you don't mind us.
No, because we just had the thing about absenteeism.
Right. And we want them to be counted.
Yeah, we want them to be counted the present. We don't want no absenteeism today. Listen, thank you all, and we enjoy it, and we look forward to working with you, okay? All right, let's give them a few minutes. Thank you all parents, too, for coming up and for showing up and for your support. That's she said one of them was her baby. One of the children belonged to her. See that? Third generation. Mm-hmm. Okay. We don't have any chairman items or commissioner items. We don't have any table items. We're going to go now to items for individual action. 1, request approval of the following budget amendment and transfer fiscal year 2023. 1, in the capital improvement program, increase revenue and expenditures, $50,000 for FEMA, from the FEMA grant. Increase revenues and expenditures, $6 million. I'm sorry. Transfer in from the general fund and the multiple grant fund, increase revenue expenditures, $500,000 for the supplemental Georgia Office of Child Advocacy Grant. Thank you. In the grant fund, in A, increase the tax revenue, $1,870,785. Appropriates $6 million for fund balance and transfer out to the CIP. Appropriate $6 million fund balance and transfer out to risk management. D, in transfer funds within department budgets, appropriate $976,688 fund balance as listed in attachment 1. 4, in the risk management fund, increase revenue and expenditures $6 million. Transferred in from the general fund. 5, in the street lighting fund, appropriate $202,900 fund balance and transfer fund as listed in attachment attachment 1. 6, in the special service district, transfers funds within department budgets and appropriate $27,259 fund balance as listed in attachment 1. 7, in the land distributing activity ordinance fund, transfer funds within department budget as listed in attachment 1. 8, in the sewer fund, transfer funds within department budget as listed in attachment 1. 9, in the solid waste, transfer funds within department budget as listed in attachment 1. 10, in the curbside pickup fund, transfer funds within department budget as listed in attachment 1. 11, in the wellness fund, transfer funds within department budget as listed in attachment 1. 12, in the hotel motel fund, increase revenues $1,153,040. B, increase expenditures as listed in attachment 1. Is there a fiscal year 2024, in the general fund, transfer $65,490 from strategy planning operation budget to salary benefits account. Transfer $850,000 from contingency to detention center inmate medical. Transfer $2 million from detention center salary account to inmate medical. In the multi-grant fund, increase revenues and expenditures $3 million for the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Program grant. Increase revenues and expenditures $9,000 for the ACCG Health Promotion and Wellness Grant. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
There a second?
Second.
Properly motion is second that the request be granted. Are you ready for the question? Please signify by casting your votes. Okay. Request board approval of resolution urging the state legislators to continue to reform and improve mental health services in Georgia. Is there a motion?
Second.
Properly motion is second. Are you ready for the question? Any comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Go.
before we vote, or after the vote, there is a brief video that goes with this that I think is worth seeing, and I think they said that they had it queued up, so if that's possible. Okay.
Okay.
I am Henry Craig, your ACCG president. I need your help. Those that are mentally ill need your help. The families of those that are mentally ill need your help. It is likely that every county and city in our great state have inadequate mental health care resources for our families and citizens. All too often, those that are mentally ill become homeless or become part of our criminal justice system. Our jails become the primary facility to treat those that are mentally ill. That is morally wrong. It is a drain on our resources of our communities, and all too often, those that are not treated for their mental illness become a public safety problem that affects others in our communities. Those that are mentally ill do not have adequate mental health care across our state. We are the closest government to our citizens. We must find help for those that are mentally ill as we have for those that have other sicknesses and illnesses. Counties and cities do not have the resources to provide the kind of help that those that are mentally ill require. In 2022, our state legislature and our governor created policy and resources to improve mental health resources for our citizens with the expectation further policy and resources would follow. House Bill 520 in 2023 legislature was the next expected necessary step to continue to improve mental health access for our citizens. House Bill 520 failed to make progress in the 2023 legislature. I and the ACCG Mental Health Committee, chaired by Forsyth Commissioner Cindy Mills, have created a simple and direct example resolution for your county commission to consider. It is brief and direct in asking your legislative representative in our state government to continue to improve policy and resources for those that are mentally ill. We must have progress for those that suffer from mental illness. Please consider passing this resolution and providing a copy to your elected state leadership and to ACCG. Our state works very hard to ensure we are the best state to do business in. Please encourage our state leaders to consider becoming the state that has made the most progress in treating those that are mentally ill. Our goal is 159 Georgia counties, urging progress for those that are mentally ill. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, our youth commissioner.
I have a question in regards to the detention center, which just had a lot of funding here. In the past week, 2 inmates died at the detention center, and it was deemed an opioid overdose, even though the toxicology report hasn't come back yet. And first question is, how can they deem it was an opioid overdose? And then my second question is, how did it happen?
And the sheriff is not here to answer your question. Chief, do you have any knowledge that you can share? Now, let me say this to the youth commissioner, all right? One of the reasons you don't hear us commenting is because there's an open investigation by the GBI, okay? they know that fentanyl was present, okay? And let me say this to you. When they go in for fentanyl, all right, or when they suspect fentanyl, they can't even send the dogs in to sniff, okay? Because they can sniff it and die. So what happens is they have to bring the hazmat team in, and they have to go in, and they have sensors that tell them that it is fentanyl there. So that's why they can say they're related to fentanyl, because fentanyl was present. Now, the question you asked about how it's getting in there, that's the question that the GBI knows have under investigation. And I don't think we are, it would be appropriate for us to, I want to answer your question, but we are restricted and limited because there's an ongoing investigation, all right? And I can say this though, it does involve our,
C&T, our drug squad.
C&T, yeah, our drug, all right, they're involved as well as the state, as well as the feds. I can give you that much information, okay?
Got it. I was just curious, because there's been repeat problems with the detention center too, when it comes to all sorts of issues.
Right, and this is one of the things that's, we passing monies, putting monies in place to combat what's going on. But again, if you were in the conference, you heard me say that mental illness is one of our most expensive items that we have, and that's why throughout the state and throughout the nation, all right, resources are being put in place to take care of the mental illness that does exist, all right? I hope I can answer your question, but I can't get into any more. In fact, I don't get into it because I don't know any more details than what I just said.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, now, yes, ma'am.
You may also want to look into medical phenol, is that how you say it? Because some of it can be given as medicine. So do some research and see what type it was.
Right.
And check that out, because some of it is given in the hospitals too.
Well, I'm pretty sure Mike Serrett, who actually came and talked with the Youth Commission last year, said it was an opioid-related death, so.
Okay.
Right. See, and so, yeah, and we have to worry because some of it's made to look like Skittles, all right? And kids eat Skittles, all right? Some of it's made to look like M&M peanuts, and folks do that. And so we have to be very careful. That's why. All right, any more? Yes, ma'am.
Just as a quick follow-up of the opioid situation, there's been a lot of information that's been published about how dangerous it is, but I ran across a series on Netflix called Painkillers. And if you have a chance, watch that. It will show you how deadly opioid addiction can be. And it can start out as innocently as your doctor prescribing it for some type of a minor surgery that you had to help with the pain. And it gets to the root of the pharmaceutical company, Purdue Pharma, and what they knew and didn't know at the time. And this has been quite an epidemic across our country. And it's a very frightening thing. It's a very addictive drug. So I would encourage anybody to watch that series. It's been very informative, as well as, like I said, there have been books and that kind of thing. So it's something to pay attention to, because you don't know who close to you that this could affect.
And see, that goes back to what Commissioner Rivers said, do that research so you can get to know more about it, all right?
I appreciate that, but they were in prison. They shouldn't have access to drugs that could kill them.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. All right, have we answered? All right, please cast your votes. Okay. We ready for you, Chief?
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, I'll try to be brief. Michael's given me strict instructions, so but I'll be certainly happy to answer any questions once once I'm done with my briefing. First of all, here's a 2023 year-to-date Part 1 crime analysis, so to speak. Our homicides are up, and I'll have a recap going over the status of those homicides in a later slide. Rapes have increased from 2022 levels, as you can see, and as I often say up here, rape is one of the most underreported Part 1 crimes, I guess, in our experience. So the fact that more folks feel comfortable coming forward so we can, number one, investigate and hold people accountable, but number two, get them the victim resources that they so desperately need to deal with the trauma that is incurred during one of those events. So our firearm assaults are primarily the cause. We do have an increase in violent crime this year, unfortunately, up 24.9% above 2022 and up 0.5% above 2021. So that shows you, how much that can fluctuate from year to year based on a variety of factors. We do have a decrease in shoplifting and theft from autos. We also have 42 thefts of checks from mail and subsequent forgeries. This is an issue in Chatham County. It is very hard to get at. Essentially what occurs is those of us that pay bills with checks and put them in our mailbox, not a P.O. box, or even put them in a postal box, like at Kroger or whatnot, those keys get sold. People steal that mail. They get checks. They alter the checks, alter the amounts. And with mobile deposits, meaning you can take a picture of that check and deposit that check into your checking account, if that banking institution doesn't have the proper protocols in place or delays in depositing those checks, I know there's one bank here in Chatham County which we've tried to deal with, but they seem to refuse to change their protocols. That money goes instantaneously into that person's checking account. That money is gone. We've worked significantly with the United States Postal Inspector's Office. We are making headway, but it is an issue. I would encourage anybody to pay online to the extent that they can and they're able to, or pay in person if they can. I know that's not always possible, but this is an issue and we're doing the best we can with it. But overall, we have a 10.5% decrease in crime from 2022 to 1,126 Part 1 crimes so far this year. This just reflects the Part 1 crimes to date across the county and the particular beats, and the commissioners may recognize their districts within these beats. Our homicide updates, so February 2nd on Shad Road, James Mixon shot Danielle Rendon, who returned fire and killed Mixon, vaguely acquainted with each other. The DA's office ruled it a justifiable homicide, so no charges were incurred in that incident. March 31st on West Tahoe Drive, Sean Brooks, fatally shot, appears to be related to drug trafficking. 2 kilos of drugs were recovered. Investigation is ongoing. June 2nd, Westlake Apartments, Jamie Burton fatally shot. Retaliation for a prior incident, 3 arrested for murder. Dwayne Singleton, Montrez Hobson, and Shadrack LeCount. A lot of hard work went in by the detectives on that, so I want to thank them for that. July 1st, Bismarck Avenue, Kayla Davis, fatally shot in-house. Negligent accident, body cleaned and moved outside. Javante Ward arrested, and we worked really closely with the DA's office on that as well. Moving on, July 20th, Winding Way. A burglar, William Jacobs, attempted to make entry into a home, shot by homeowner Robert McKenzie, not known to one another. DA's office ruled it a justifiable homicide and no charges will be incurred in that case. August 3rd, Quaco Road, a 1-month-old death. Jennifer Cooper, mother, was arrested for murder. Very tragic, as we know, when a one-month-old is killed. August 9th, Fenwick Village, a double homicide. Robert Johnson and Eric Townsend fatally shot. Drug-related robbery motive. 3 charged with murder. Ronald Haywood, Albert Mack, and Akili Wilson. Again, some more hard work by CID. And then September 4th on LaRoche Avenue, Rashad Goodine fatally shot. Travis Washington was arrested for murder. That was, again, a lot of hard work by CID, particularly Detective Sanchez and Detective Shaw. They worked almost a week straight, 16 to 18 hours a day, but they were able to bring some sense of justice to that. So unfortunate, but I just wanted to be transparent and give the board an update on where we're at with those unfortunate incidents in Chatham County. Moving on, as I did last year, and again, another exercise in transparency, I wanted to give a use of force update, meaning, this is from 2022. This reflects the number of incidents in which our officers used force or had to use force in the course of their duties. So we had 144 incidents, use of force incidents by 194 officers. Of those, on the right-hand side, as you can see, we drew our firearm 32 times. That means we drew it. We never fired it. We did not have any officer-involved shootings last year, thankfully. We just deployed our taser, or a taser 11 times. We displayed a taser 25 times, and then hands-on open hand techniques, or however you want to describe it, 91 times. To the left reflects the citizens' actions in those use of forces. 46 were combative or assaulted the officer, 13 assaulted another citizen, and 85 refused to comply with lawful commands. Frequency, so percent of calls for service with citizen contact. So we had 53,106 citizen contacts in 2022. So 99.7% of those contacts resulted in no use of force, or 99.7%. Only 0.3% of those calls for service or citizens contacts resulted in use of force, which reflects 144 incidents. Out of percentage of arrests, we had 782 arrests made in 2022, with 103 of those involving force, or 12.4%, or 87.6% where no force was utilized when effecting an arrest. I wanted to also use of force by race and gender. That often comes up as a question, a very fair question. So I wanted to be transparent and be reflective in our data. Of those 144 incidents, a black female was 11 incidents, 7.7, white male, 59, 41.5%. Those use of forces. White female was 11.3%, or 16. Hispanic male, 8, or 5.6%. Hispanic female, 3, 2.1%, and black male, 31.7%. So that reflects the demographic and gender data of all of our use of force incidents in Chatham County in 2022. Let me stop there. Any questions on the use of force data before I move on? And you may have one at the end, and please ask as you do so. Actually, going back to when I was hired, it'll be 6 years, December 4th, one of the deliverables in the job description, as Mr. Kager would certainly know, is seeking and acquiring state accreditation and then subsequently national accreditation. We have reached that point where we are prepared to go through that assessment process. We have worked incredibly hard, or Sergeant Flannery has worked incredibly hard on getting our policies and procedures situated, and a lot of aspects of the organization so we can be successful. So last week we had a mock assessment, so that's where these accredited assessors come and do a kind of a trial run with your organization. That was by Liberty County Sheriff's Office Major Bill Kirkendall and Brittany Cook. They conducted the mock assessment on September 15th. In my meetings with him, 142 standards in 9 categories. We all look good. He said if he could give us the accreditation that day, he would have. So I don't anticipate any issues when we go for the full accreditation. They will not be the ones doing the full accreditation. That's kind of their checks and balances. But we do have our on-site assessment scheduled for November 16th and 17th. I anticipate us being successful, and once we're able to do that, certainly I'd like to come before the board and highlight those that made that possible, and highlight the department for reaching that milestone. So. And some of our community engagement, we had a lunch and learn August 8th with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, so I was able to go. I also had 2 officers showed up. Didn't know they were showing up, so that was nice that they just happened to be there. That's what we encourage. It doesn't need to be me all the time. It really needs to be everybody, and so I appreciated their effort. Had a great conversation with many of the Hispanic businesses and their owners around a variety of topics, and I anticipate further interaction with them. I just thought it was a great day. So, and Park Credit Union opened up their doors, gave us their community room. They were very gracious. They encouraged that. So We really appreciated them providing a neutral venue for us to be able to do that. So we had a great time. I see the sheriff kind of. What's up with that? How'd that happen?
He slipped in on you.
He slipped in on me. That's all right. He's elected. I'm not. I'm good with that. So. We also, cultural awareness for new recruits. We were finally able to get back into the Civil Rights Museum. That was something that was a cornerstone to our new hires, our introduction for them, and it's just so powerful. For those that haven't been there, I would encourage anyone to go. It's a great venue, and they have a great staff. And I'm also very glad and thankful that they're really now part of Chatham County government. So I think that was Michael's initiative, so good job, Mike. But we had speakers on cultural awareness. We had Miss Whitney Gilliard, advocate for Asian American and Pacific Islanders, Mr. Alfonso Rabat, Metro Savannah Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and Pastor Ricky Temple. And if y'all haven't heard Pastor Temple, he's fantastic. He's just very, very powerful. So really appreciated them. And it's so important for new hires as we socialize them into our profession. How we bring them into the profession, to me, is critical. You're really planting the seeds and some of the things that are foundational for us. And this is just something that we are intentional about. And I think it's just so powerful for them when they come on. So we'll continue to do that for everyone that we bring on the organization. That concludes my presentation. I'll be glad to
All right,
take
any
your
questions for the chief? Go ahead, Commissioner. I'm coming.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So thanks for that, Chief. The only question I had is more like a general question. We see the increase in violent crime, pretty significant between last year and this year. And now that we've kind of gotten out of the COVID phase, I understand we should have expected a rise before. Is there anything that we as a commission could either do or tell our constituents that you feel may help aid in fighting some of this violent crime that we're seeing, the rise?
The two things that come to mind to me, number one, lock your doors on your cars. As I've been up here multiple times in terms of thefts of vehicles and firearms that are stolen from them. Those go out in the community and can get used in a variety of ways. 99% of weapons that are stolen from vehicles are from unlocked vehicles. Mm-hmm. We have to be responsible gun owners. That's not to say you can't own a gun. That's your right to do so, but you got to be responsible. So that's number one. Number two, any citizen, not any citizen, but there are some folks that know that there are people involved in the life, I guess, so to speak, or that have a propensity for violence or hanging out for folks they shouldn't. You know, if that one person can have influence on one other person to, in whatever way, to stay away, steer away, do something different, get them where they need to get to. I think that's a powerful order of magnitude, so to speak. You know, I know we all get insensitive or desensitized, not insensitive, but desensitized, or ain't nothing I can do with him or her or whatnot. But I think there is. In my experience, you know, I mean, there's some hardcore folk that's just the life they're going to have. Let's just be honest. But I do think there are many in the middle. If someone shows that they care, that they want to make a difference in their lives, or put a little bug in their ear, or whatever it may be, and it may sound a little Pollyannish, but what other things do we have, right? I mean, police chiefs have been standing at podiums like this for a long time, trying to figure this out. And if we had it figured out, you may not be asking those questions, but unfortunately, the questions need to be asked, and those are the answers that I have. I mean, it's a complex issue. It's not just a law enforcement issue. It's a community issue. It's a societal issue. It goes to early education. It goes to what they're getting at home, the breakdown of the family. We could go on and on and on, but I do believe that there are some people that know, people that may have a propensity to be involved in stuff like that. Put your hand on their shoulder. Tell them you love them. Tell them you care. We don't want you to be the next victim. The gentleman on LaRoche Avenue was 17 years old. He's 17 years old, man. He don't have a chance. He didn't have a chance. That's sad. It really is. No matter what he was doing and whatever he, contributed to being put in that situation, he's 17. So.
Well, I appreciate that. And so No, I appreciate that, and I know there's no singular answer. But I definitely wanted to give you the opportunity to say something on that. The last thing I would say is just I'm always impressed with the forces, the department's direct efforts in engaging the community, and so to see those photos, again, I just want to say keep up the good work and engaging the community. I think that really helps when we take the approach of community policing. I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, any other commissioner? All right, Youth Commission?
So my question is a little bit off of what Commissioner Whiteley said, but do you attribute most of the rise in crime to the ending of COVID, sort of?
No, I really think you need to, in a broader perspective, as you saw in one of the statistics, we were up 24% in one category, but only 0.5% from the year before that. You really got to look at crime in a 5-year window. And that's where you can really kind of try to draw, what patterns, what, common themes may come through crime. I mean, I think certainly COVID had something to do with it. But that's just not me. I think it's an easy, to call it an excuse or an easy label to put on certain things, but I wouldn't say that.
So then, if it's not COVID, what would you attribute the rise in crime to?
Well, I think that
violent crime, I should say.
Violent crime. I think that it's the coping skills of certain individuals. That's the go-to, right? I'm going to settle a dispute, a insignificant dispute with a weapon rather than words. I think social media has a contributor to it because in this regard, chatter, right? Someone's on, okay, I'm not a social media person, so I may be a little behind the times. So either at Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram, people are going back and forth, right? In our day, it was on the playground and then we went home and then nobody said anything, or they were saying something, but we didn't know what they were saying. But everybody knows what everyone's saying instantaneously. It builds up this lather, this energy around minor incidents, disrespect over a girl, over a boy, over something that doesn't need to end in someone getting hurt or certainly killed. But by the time those individuals get together, everyone's watching. What are you going to do? He punked you out. He's saying this about you. He's saying that about you. And then all of a sudden you meet face to face and you're obligated almost to some extent from all the peer pressure to do something and do something drastic. That's just my 53-year-old man's opinion of it. But I do think social media has a significant impact on the energy put behind everyday disputes that get escalated through those social mediums.
And then what percentage of the homicides were with firearms?
I believe every one of them.
Okay.
I'd have to go back and look, but
Do you know if they were legally owned or illegally? Breakdown.
I don't know.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, some I believe probably had prior felonies, so they weren't able to own a firearm. I don't know that 100%. Probably 75% were illegally.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the questions. Yes, ma'am.
So, is there anything that y'all are doing to hold the owners of the guns accountable after they've been stolen?
It's a very good question. We've talked about it here. I think Mayor Johnson actually had something recently about holding them accountable. My personal opinion is it'd be very difficult. Like, for example, if you left a lawfully owned weapon in your vehicle unlocked, number one, if you started holding them accountable, they're not going to report it stolen. So we wouldn't. That's just me. I do think that more thinking can be put around that. I mean, if you were in my home, right, and I had a loaded firearm on my kitchen table, and you were 5 years old and you grabbed it and shot yourself, I'm going to be charged with probably involuntary manslaughter, negligent homicide, or whatever the act charge. But being inside of a vehicle where 99.9% of the time you're the only one that's in there, it's going to be a little difficult to get there. But I do think that a lot of thinking needs to go around holding them accountable. In what way makes sense legally and what we can do is a question for the attorneys, but it's not something that we haven't considered.
All right, anything else? All right, thank you. And one of the things I think that would help you too is if you notice the majority of those crimes are between people who know each other.
Yep.
So there's something going on. Family members need to get involved to decrease that tension that's going on there, because it winds up, they know each other.
99% of them, they know each
Yeah,
other.
and there's something going on, so it goes back to the family structure, and, you know, we gotta stop saying, I can't do anything with that child, or I can't do anything with that girl or that boy. And then if you know something, say something, because it can be prevented that way as well, all right? So when we talk to our peers. Anything else for the chief? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Appreciate it. The action calendar, no one expressed any interest to take anything off, so may I have a motion to accept it in its entirety?
So moved. Second, Mr. Chairman.
Properly motion and second, that the action calendar be accepted in its entirety. Are you ready for the question? Please cast your votes. Okay. First reader. Amend the purchasing ordinance as it relates to the special procurement provision. As first reader, we have discussion on it during the second reading. Second reader, amendment to Chapter 21, Article 12, Fire Protection Service Fees of the Chatham County Code. At this time, I'm gonna ask now, is there anyone who wants to comment publicly? Is there anyone who wants to comment publicly about the fire protection service? None? None? All right. So now, yes, sir.
I'm sure there was a meeting of that, but I was curious if the county, or the commission could elaborate on why you all decided to form your own fire department services instead of incorporating with the city of Savannah.
We haven't done that
Oh,
yet.
okay, sorry.
What
I was
we've done is we've set up a resolution to study.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And we've got to find a way to combat what's going on with the fire service, all right? We just can't continue to let it spiral out of.
Okay.
And so what the resolution did was, and what this amendment do is to bring certain things in line, okay? While the staff is researching, what is the best avenue for us to take, okay? One of the things I can say to you that did not work, and that's one of the hesitations of consolidating with Savannah Fire, is that we consolidated with the police department and that didn't work. Okay, so we wind up with less coverage for folks in the unincorporated area. And so that's why we had to get out of that pack. And so we don't want to repeat the same thing twice.
Got it.
Okay? All right. Any other? All right, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Been properly motion and second that the amendment be adopted. All right, ready for the question? Please cast your votes. Okay. All right, we go to information items, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, and as a reminder, you've got a packet of information in front of you, and please take time to review it. It gives some dates, some programs that we have coming up. I'd also want to remind the commission of the workshop we've got on September 28th at 5 p.m. here in the chambers, and we're going to discuss, have a discussion on provide an update on the indoor youth and amateur sports complex, and also special service district options. So those two things will be addressed at the workshop. Next, I'm going to ask Ms. Jackson our resiliency coordinator to come to the podium, and she's going to give you a brief presentation on our resiliency program.
Good morning.
Thank you for allowing me just a few minutes. I have not been before you as of yet, but I wanted to just give you a little bit of background and information on the resilience program within Chatham County that we've been working on for the past year, and then give you some exciting updates, hopefully towards some of their forthcoming projects within the very near future. For those, if you'll allow me just a moment to kind of set the tone for resilience, we heard some information this morning as well from Ms. Wilson. and her team. And this really, again, is, I guess, the day of resilience as we discuss that. But for those in the audience and your constituents countywide, just kind of wanted, again, to set the tone. As you're obviously very, very familiar, Chatham County has gone through quite a deal of growth within the past number of years. The image shown to you on the, or shown on the screen here goes back to 1970. And we've seen, as I mentioned, quite a deal of growth, going from 187,000 up to 301,000. And we're projecting that number to increase within the next 40 years by an additional 74,000 residents. And again, that's a 24% increase within our county boundaries as a whole. So that's a lot to work with. That is also not necessarily inclusive of the more recent growth with regards to Hyundai and that type of recent development. But again, as shown on the screen, and what you're very familiar with, that kind of building on that, our growth has been happening in the western portion of the county. The larger colors, the darker blue, is where that growth has been happening over time. And that, again, is, you know, as we've discussed, related around commerce, port growth, et cetera, out in that area. So kind of the question, and why we're really have built on this program, is how do we as a community, how do we meet in the middle? How do we find that middle ground, kind of as this picture shows? How do we keep our natural environment safe, but yet afford a healthy economic development and growth along the coast? Because we want to ensure that we're having both at the local level. For those who may not be familiar, but actually Chatham County has been in the game with regards to proper growth and development for many years. I believe Ms. Stone was on here as well back in 2007 as we came forward and called for Chatham County to be the greenest county in Georgia, and we've continued that effort over the past 16 years. However, our focus area has somewhat shifted within the recent past. I put this image up here kind of highlighting the weather trends. Unfortunately, what we've seen, this alone is 2022, looking at $1 billion weather and climate disaster image for the entire U.S. Since then, let's see, want to make sure I get this right, since 2000, there have been 16 named storms that have come within 50 miles of Chatham County's boundaries. And of course, as you're familiar, we had a visitor just 2 weeks ago that, as we mentioned, we're still cleaning up from and working on that. So all of this just to remind you of how things have changed over the past number of years. We are lucky enough locally, we have actually a sea level tide gauge out at Fort Pulaski, and we've been lucky enough to have that in place for over 88 years. We're inching into that 100-year timeline, and we've been able to literally track the sea levels within Chatham County. So we're not talking about Charleston, we're not talking about Florida, we've got Chatham County, we're really tracking that. And what this is telling us, looking at it US-wide, we are actually trending higher than Miami and Charleston right now. So something that we really need to take account of and pay attention to. And then looking at other impacts with regards to climate change. Let me switch a little bit. Hold on, sorry. Something that is absolutely relevant with regards to climate change, and what we are seeing at the local level, unfortunately, is that heat-related impact of a changing climate. I put this image down here with regards to, unfortunately, we had a couple that passed away within the Statesboro community because of heat-related death. They did not feel as if they could afford to run their air conditioning units, and instead went without, and unfortunately they passed. I feel as a community, as Chatham and whatnot, that we can do better, and that's where we're headed. We're trying to do better and get to a better place. With that, again, talking about flooding, show some images of minor flooding and moderate flooding, as we've seen here locally. Get to the right page, sorry. This is actually Highway 80. The minor flooding image was associated with Hurricane Ian. And then that same next to the right of that image to the right is moderate flooding, where you have more impacts on those communities and roadway systems as well. I thought I'd throw this in there. Born and raised in Savannah myself, I remember some of these. 1990s, I don't actually have the exact date, but this is when the Savannah Mall was flooded, which is kind of crazy. And then, again, I remember this as well, 1979, this is Hurricane David, way back in the day. So we've seen all of these impacts, right? We've seen minor, we've seen moderate, and we've seen these major impacts from flooding. Again, those images of Fort Pulaski, it tells us that our baseline is growing, that our tides are getting higher and our high tides are getting higher. And that's something that we're going to continue to have to work with over time. Another image that I threw in there for you, this is Fort Jackson. This was, let me get the exact date for you, sorry, November of 2021. This was not associated with a storm. In no way. This actually was just a heavy rainfall event on a series of storms, rainfall storms, that also had high winds associated with them, so it pushed that water on shore. So these are the type of things that we're dealing with when we're talking about higher tides and flooding events. So again, I throw all that lovely stuff, sorry to be Debbie Downer, again, talking about resilience and some of the more depressing topics, but it is our reality and what we're dealing with. But again, coming back to how do we meet in the middle? And this is where Chatham County really understood that role of how we needed to move forward with this, and came up with the resilience program. Stood up the resilience program last year in 2022. And under that process, had to look at what our definition would be for the entire county, for what Chatham County meant by resilience. And in short, I like to say it's us ensuring we can bounce back. Not just the community, not just dealing with climate change and road being flooded over, that type of thing, but the whole person, the whole community. How can we ensure that we have public transportation, that we have affordable housing, that we have a good quality of life for our residents? So Chatham County moved forward with working around the premise of 100 resilient cities, and really took the resilience framework and broke that out into 4 components, looking at leadership and strategy, health and well-being, economy and society, and infrastructure and environment. This here lists those out for you as well. But what it really highlights is that each one is not independent. We all work together in these different components, and as was mentioned in pre-meeting, so many components of our day-to-day lives affect one another and build, and the domino effects, go throughout all of these different frameworks. Again, I won't necessarily go through these. I invite you to actually look at the resilience page on the county's website. As you look at each one of the individual themes, there will be subcomponents of those, and that's how we break out and really start looking at the individual components within each major theme. So to highlight, kind of build on our discussions and get a little more positive notes to what we're talking about today, I wanted to highlight some of the work that we've accomplished in the 4 components. We've done a lot of work in infrastructure and environment. We've, again, stood up the resilience program as a whole. Thankfully, I'm very proud of that, and thank you for that opportunity. We've done a lot of work around tree canopy expansion. We'll be coming forward to talk about tree ordinance updates. As you're very familiar and was also on the agenda today, we're looking at the purchase and continual preservation of property within Chatham County for all of our constituents, all of our residents to access, so that overall quality of life. We're looking at housing components, really building up that housing coalition discussion, looking at expanding our partnerships with all of the jurisdictions, with all of the different agencies in these areas as well. Really working with FEMA and GEMA on components where we can get assistance from them as well, and honestly get funding. We have, I'm sure you've seen on the agenda, applied for a ton of grants through this series of all of the money coming our way has been highly beneficial, and I think we're going to start seeing a lot of those grant applications hit. So I'm very, very excited about that. And more specifically, I want to highlight a project that we'll be hopefully moving forward with and bringing forward to you in the very, very near future, if not the next meeting, but our proposed renewable energy pilot project. Project. We want to literally start capturing all of Chatham County's sun and to help offset the electricity bills, the electricity usage within our municipal facilities. So we would like to come forward with a proposal to start a pilot program looking at 4 individual buildings, and I'll cite those, some of the Sheriff's Department, Juvenile Court, the Aquatic Center, and Citizen Services, and highlight the work that we can offset there, that solar power, really capture that. And we have done some of the initial analysis, and we foresee that with this next step, we will hopefully be able to save over $330,000 just on these 4 components alone on these individual buildings. Ideally, again, being able to model that project and expand that project over time. But with that being said, we really would like to follow in the footsteps. We've got municipal partners throughout Georgia that have done this, and it's working well. We've got Fulton, Atlanta, Macon-Bibb, Athens, Clarke, City, and City of Savannah as well. So we're really trying to follow in their footsteps, as well as start a really good program for Chatham County to capture that sun. And honestly, lower our electricity bills and save that in money. Let's see. So this is a very simplistic graphic kind of showing that we would have our solar power numbers down at the bottom. They would stay at a solid rate, consistent rate. We would know what we're working with. And as power rates, electricity rates go up, ours stays the same and is very consistent over a number of years. So that in itself leads to economic and environmental resiliency. A really big component of this that I'm very excited about is a workforce development component as well. We would like to continue the path down the road for Chatham County. City of Savannah has stepped into this as well, and we would like to team up with Savannah and the energy partners and work with what's called Shine On Partnership. We would be pulling in local staff, local residents to get trained in solar power installation, maintenance, and ongoing OSHA type of certifications that then keeps them local, and they're able to literally, they would be installing our solar power systems on the community buildings. And I think that's a great, pat on the back for us as well. You might have seen recent news articles on that. I have a screenshot down there from one of the TV stations. But again, just kind of reiterating that this is local. This is what we would be doing for our community as well. And something to note that I think is exciting for this whole process is that, and not often the case, when they're getting trained here, they would be getting paid the whole time. So they're getting paid while they're going through the training, while they're getting certified, and then they're directly going straight to work as well. So there's no lapse in any type of paychecks or anything like that. And that's a simple component, but one that's very important. And with that, really that is kind of a very quick and short synopsis of some of the work that we've been doing. It's been a very busy past 14 to 16 months, according to how you look at it. But I think it's important that Chatham County continues down this road. We're doing a really good job. There's a lot of good things happening within our community. We have a ways to go. But in short, this schematic here kind of gives you, a good 7 steps of where this can lead us. Everything from your cleaner environment and ecosystems and foodscapes to really that social and economic stability and quality of health for our community.
All right, any questions?
Any questions?
Commissioners? All right,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiley?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I could use some solar in here. It is cold.
It is cold. It is cold.
So thank you for that presentation, Ms. Jackson. I really appreciate it. Looks like you're settling into your role
I am.
pretty well. So I wanted to ask in reference to that, about that pilot program. I understand we already have solar. I think it's a slide before this. No, the one before that. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, so I understand we currently have solar, I think, on this courthouse and a couple other spots. So when you're saying a pilot, what would be different from our current arrangement?
To my knowledge, we do not have
don't have solar up
solar.
here?
No, sir.
Oh, none of them?
We have, the Resource Center on Eisenhower has a very small array that's been there for a number of years, but it is not necessarily tied into the system in any way.
Gotcha.
And we have done research, there was a list of 30-some odd municipal facilities, and I believe that was the only one that has a small type of array. The health department on Eisenhower and Sally Mood has a small little system, but again, this is, would be a larger
Right.
type of pilot,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So,
And we plan to, when we come back, to enter into an agreement, Ms. Jackson's going to do a more in-depth kind of explanation of the pilot program and the contract. And it's, you know, you've got to provide electricity to the building regardless. This is a way to kind of cap what our expenses are, but also to be in line with what we have approved so far as Chatham County being one of the greenest counties around and reducing our carbon footprint.
okay.
Look
Well,
at the jail too.
Yes, we
When-
do have, one of the,
Actually, when I mentioned the jail is the sheriff's complex. That would be one of the four, that would be one of the first four within that pilot program.
'Cause it's
Along with,
huge.
it is, along with the aquatic center, juvenile court and citizen service center as well. We also wanted to make sure that there were some public-facing locations such as the aquatic center and others where we can educate the public on what we're doing as well through signage and those type of things, so.
So then, so we have somebody in mind for this, or is this gonna go out to bid to see who can offer this?
It would be, we have gone through the legal process and the contracting process. It would, in essence, be an energy contract, so it's somewhat of a standalone contract. We would be formulating a contract similar to that with Savannah and the others, almost a piggybacking type of scenario where you can do some of those work and efforts. Because it is so standalone and almost so unique, there isn't other type of offers out there. It is literally would be similar to Georgia Power.
So who's the provider?
We don't
Can I
have
move forward
one
with that?
yet.
we don't have one yet. That's what we'll be bringing back to you.
Oh, got you. So you're looking for one now? then.
Yes.
And
Find who does this.
we've been in discussions with a couple folks, so we'll bring that back to you.
Gotcha.
One of,
Yeah.
Yes.
one of the things that was a concern is flat roofs are great except they're flat. And they all have membranes. And if you take a solar panel and puncture the membrane, you lose your warranty.
Yeah.
So I was very concerned about putting 500 of them up with 5,000 holes. But they're going to mount these in a way that they don't touch the roof. And that's good for two reasons. One, you don't have the membrane problem, and number two, it allows the heat to escape, so you don't have the heat to build up that will then get so hot that it'll create problems for your roof. And if we need to have them taken off, they'll take them off, and then they'll put them back on. And that fits part of their service fee, so it's a pretty interesting project.
So again, and just forgive me here, so if we don't know who is doing this, then how do we know they're gonna mount it, or we're requesting that they're mounting it? in
That'll
that
be
manner?
part of the RFP.
Oh, gotcha, okay. Thank you. All right, thank you. Oh, yeah, one other thing, I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
My notes. So then the Shine On partnership, that's us partnering with Savannah, because I do know they have some sort of ongoing situation happening now.
Correct. That would be that same similar team.
Gotcha.
As
Okay.
well. And as they bring on training through the Shine On partnership, which, under different umbrellas, it would be a continuation and expansion of that same.
Is Nick still working with that?
No.
No? Okay. All right, thank you.
But his, I guess, his assistant at the time is still here, yes. So Alicia Brown is definitely working on that as well, yes.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions from commissioners? From youth commissioners? No question? No. Okay,
Commissioner, I think Bashia and I both have to go now, if you'd
Yeah.
excuse us.
okay.
Okay.
We understand. We want you to get back to school. We don't want you to get marked.
Thank you, Mr.
knocked
Chairman.
down. But thank you so much for being here. And let me just say now, as we embark upon this, The main goal is to get folks in this area trained and knowledgeable how to do it so that we can do it locally, all right? So we may have to bring in a consultant from outside to train, to get us certified to do it and then do it so that we have it here locally. And let me say, one of the pictures you saw where Fort Jackson was flooding, all right? That was the first time, no, I knew about King Tide, but I had never seen King Tide, and so then I got educated on what King Tide means, because now King Tide will, the two places that will affect most is Fort Jackson, but also Burnside Island, all right? And so to get to know what King Tide is and to know how, you saw what Fort Jackson looked like, see, and there's some pictures in there's some pictures in, like that. There's some pictures that we had from the consultant from Savannah State and Georgia Southern. They showed us Burnside Island doing King Tide, which look a lot like what you see on the screen now. So that's why it's important that we get involved in this, because we've got to stop some of this. We got to learn how to rearrange it so it goes someplace else.
Right,
All
right. And we're definitely working
Right.
on that, for sure.
Anything else, Mr. Manager? No, sir. All right, there is a must for us to have a executive session for acquisition, litigation, personnel, all right? So may I have a motion to adjourn into executive session?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a
Second.
second? All right, properly motion and second that we adjourn to executive session. Are you ready for the question? Please cast your votes. All right. Meeting is adjourned.